Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make a 3D building using SketchUp, Make, and Google Earth. The first thing you need to do is make sure you've downloaded both of these from their respective websites. They're both free. And also make sure you have a ground truth image. If you've not already downloaded the image, go to the ISIS website and download the image. Here it's a good image because it's almost directly face on, which will make it good for texturing our building. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and save it to your desktop so that it's easy for you to find. The next thing we're going to want to do is type the coordinates you were provided into Google Earth. Then click Search. We're flying to South Africa now because we're going to be making Building 5000, which housed South Africa's criticality facility for testing its first nuclear explosive device. You can see that the building is pretty simple. It's a square here with two sort of additional sheds on the side of the building and then other support sheds off in the distance. It's got a double security fence all around the perimeter here. I've chosen this facility because it's pretty simple for your first try. It's got simple geometry, it's got a nice shadow which will help us estimate the height, and the terrain here is pretty level, which will help you both when you build the building as well as when you estimate the height. When you're ready, go ahead and close the window and take a look at SketchUp. If this is your first time using SketchUp, you may be prompted to choose a template. I'm using the simple template and meters. When you're ready, click Start Using SketchUp. The next thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have the appropriate toolbars. So go to View and click on Toolbars. Again, if this is your first time using SketchUp, you probably have the Getting Started panel turned on. Turn that off and instead use the Large toolset and the Google toolset, and then hit Close. If this is your first time using SketchUp, I recommend you stop this lesson and instead practice the tool sets here. You can find more guidance on the SketchUp website, but you're going to need to use the pencil tool, the rectangle tool, the push-pull, move, the measurement tape, and the axes, among others. The very first thing we have to do is get rid of this guy. We'll click and delete him, and then we'll take a look at geolocating. So go to the Google toolbar and click Add Location. You can see I've pasted the same coordinates here that were in Google Earth, and it is now showing us the Google Earth image. The first thing we're going to want to do is select the space we want to model. So adjust the pins so that you grab the terrain that you want to model. This doesn't have to be exactly the way I've done it. Instead, you can just click the terrain you're interested in. When you're ready, click Grab. And it's now importing this into Google Earth. So you can see our axes here are demonstrating the green and the red plane, which is the ground, and the blue vertical axis shows us the vertical space. So now essentially what we're going to do is trace this building. The first thing we have to do is move the axes. We're going to move them to a corner. I'm choosing this corner here because I can see both sides of the building clearly, and that makes it easier for us to guess what the building looks like. So now that we have our axes, we're going to take the rectangle tool, we're going to start at the origin and trace the building. And when you're comfortable, go ahead and click again, and it will give you a rectangle. Now we can use the push-pull pin to take this two-dimensional object and make it three-dimensional. We don't know how tall this building is, but we have this nice shadow. One of the great things about SketchUp is that it can create its own artificial shadows for you. So go to the View menu and click Shadows. And you can see it's casting a shadow for us, but it's nowhere near the shadow that is in the satellite image. What we're going to try to do is overlay them and line them up. And by that, it will tell us how tall the building is. So now you're going to go to the window pane and open the shadow window. You can see that it will adjust the shadow based on the time of day and the time of year. So the first thing we need to know is when the satellite image was taken. So go back to Google Earth and click on it, and you can see at the bottom of the Google Earth window is an imagery date. In this case, this image was taken on July 27th, 2014. So now go back to SketchUp and put in July 27th. And you can see that the shadows still don't quite line up, and that's because Google Earth doesn't tell us what time of day the image was taken. So now we need to adjust the shadow based on the time of day. And based on this, I'm going to say the image was taken around 10:30. And it still doesn't quite line up, and that's because in my height guess, I wasn't quite right. So adjust it down a little bit in this case. You may have to adjust up depending on how big you made your cube. And now it gives us two shadows that overlap. So go ahead and close the shadow window and take out your measurement tool. And you can measure that this building is probably about 12 meters tall. Okay, so now we need to make a roof. The one downside of this particular building is that the roof is peaked, but it's so shallow that you can't quite see it in the shadow. So go ahead and grab your pencil tool, and go to the midpoint, and create a line bisecting the square. And then you can grab your move tool and move it up. If you move it too far up, you will see it in the shadow, and that's a good clue. So just move it up a little bit, like so. And that sort of looks like the ground truth image we saw earlier today. The next step will be texturing our building. So go to File and click Import. Now we're going to import the ground truth image we saw earlier. We've named it 5000, it's on the desktop. If you don't see it, make sure you've selected JPEG as your file type and click Open. Also make sure that you're using this as a texture. If you use it as an image, it won't behave the way you're about to see. Now, when you hold it over your building, you'll see it sort of snap to the origin and then click again to make it kind of like a wallpaper. Obviously, this isn't the wallpaper we want, so right-click on the face, go to Texture and Position. Now you can use these yellow pins to adjust the image to stretch it over the side of the building. Go ahead and click on the yellow pin and then let go and place it on the corner. If you want to zoom in really close, this will help you make it more exact. You just have to guess behind this sort of red Volkswagen here. And again, feel free to zoom in to get it right on the corner. All right, so when you're ready, this is going to be a little bit mind-bending. Grab the pin and drag it to the actual corner of your building. And now you can kind of see that I need to adjust it a little bit, right? My roof peak doesn't quite match, and you can see where I've pinned it by the red Volkswagen isn't quite right either. So go ahead and stretch it. And you should be able to just get the corner of this security camera, this security camera. You may want to adjust a little bit more, and just adjust it until you feel comfortable. It's nice, it's kind of got this corrugated surface here too, which acts as a good guide. And you can also see this side building here, which you can build later if you feel like it. Now if you want to adjust the ridgepole, go ahead and select it, and then use the Move tool, and you can just sort of adjust it based on how it matches the image. Remember that the image wasn't taken directly face on. It was pretty close, but not quite. So at this point, it's up to you to decide whether the texture is more important to you or the roof line. So when you're done, have a look at your building. And at this point, you can use basically the same principles to texture the rest of your building. So you could, again, you could find a similar pattern and texture the rest of the building, and you could explore the different options here. You can do colors, you can choose different roofing tiles, and you can do whatever you want to adjust the building. For now, though, let's go ahead and export it into Google Earth and take a look at what it looks like. So go ahead and click on Preview Model in Google Earth and give your computer a little bit of time, and then you can fly in and see what it looks like in Google Earth. From now, I recommend you build the side buildings, that you texture the remainder of your building. You could even try building the perimeters if you want to. If you're going to start building further out on your landscape, I recommend that you go back to SketchUp and turn on the terrain tool. And this will give you kind of a view of what it looks like in the terrain around. But to do that, go ahead and turn off the shadows because it gets a little crazy. Okay, thank you very much for taking a look at this video. If you have any questions, feel free to contact your instructor, or you can email us at the Center for Nonproliferation Studies. Take care.